Help me ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. I hope everybody is well. It's Sunday, just going into Sunday tea time, and I've had a lovely relaxing day. And this was a video actually that I was going to do tomorrow. Then I realised I'm out tomorrow visiting my sister, and I've got a couple of other things on in the week. So I thought, well, while I've got a bit of time, why not take a look at it now? So that is what we're going to do. So this is the top 10 RWS decks, 5 years on. As of the time now that I'm recording this, it's the 13th of April, 2025. And it was 2020 when I last did my top 10 RWS decks. I've done a few top 10 decks, top 10 tarot of all time, a very popular one. I also did top 10 oracle decks, and I've done top 10 RWS decks, I think twice previously, once back when I first started the channel, and then again in 2020. And it was actually Robin from Toadstool Tarot who reminded me actually that it was 5 years, and wondered if my choices had changed. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, 5 years already. And then started to realize actually quite a few different RWS iterations have been released in that time and have also come into my collection. So what I'll preface by saying is, those of you who are subscribed to my channel or have followed me for a time, and I realise with top 10 videos, sometimes there's just people who stumble by these and watch them and don't know me from Adam, and that's great too. But those of you who do know me quite well know that the RWS, as in Pamela Coleman-Smith's artwork, Our Beloved Pixie, is my ultimate deck. It's my soul deck. It's the one that I just reach for all the time. Yes, I've got 1,000 tarot decks. Yes, I love new tarot decks and working with them, but my staple is the RWS, and I have to use that at some point during the day. It's just that deck. We've all got that one deck, haven't we? I've often been asked if people think that, or sorry, I should say, I often get asked by people whether I think that there is too many different versions, clones they often get called, or different iterations. For me, a clone, there is one clone in here, is where it's similar. So it's not necessarily Pixie's artwork, but it's a redrawing, a reimagining. Lots spring to mind, like Universal Waite or Hanson Roberts, those type of decks, or ones that are very, J.K. Waite is another one, very close to Pixie's artwork but been redrawn. And the short answer is no, I don't think that there are too many, because it's all about choice. And what I'm going to be showing you today is lots of different versions of the RWS, and each unique in their own way, and add something a little bit different. And there are some people who don't like the sort of flat colours of an original 1909, 1910, etc., but may enjoy something like Tarot Vintage by Lo Scarabeo or Albano Waite with the vibrant colours. And so I just say, you know, if someone's got an idea to reimagine the RWS or give it different colours or whatever it is, then I'll have a look at it. And if I like it, I'll bring it into my collection. If I don't, then I won't. Or if it's gifted to me and I don't gel with it, maybe I'll pass it on to somebody who I think would appreciate it. That's a lot of talking for an intro, but we will get started. So this is top 10. I am going to do them in order of 10 down to 1. Never an easy task, and something that I've sat with a pen this afternoon, and I was scribbling out thinking, now I'm gonna have that as 7 actually, because that, I prefer that, so that's now 6. And it's took me a while to get here, but here we go. So in 10th position, and what I will say is, since I did it 5 years ago, there's only a couple that have stayed in the top 10 and other ones have changed. And this one that I'm going to show you, which is Neutral Vibes, I believe was out in 2020. Certainly the next one I'm going to show you, this might not have been. But anyway, this is Neutral Vibes Tarot. Doesn't give you much on the box other than the title, Neutral Vibes, nothing else. But this was an add-on. It was released by Matt Green, and it was an add-on on Kickstarter. If you backed the, I can't remember, I think it was the second edition. So they had something called Divine and Play, which was an RWS themed playing card deck. And then there was some criticisms about it, and he redid it, called Refine and Play. And I think you could also add this to your pledge. And I loved the look of it, so I added it. Now, it's beautiful linen cardstock. Don't know if you can see that. I was picking up. It's that beautiful soft linen, like Pagan Otherworld, something like that. It is very trippy, as you can see. The only criticism I have of this deck is when you are, I have to make sure I don't, imagine they're not in order anyway, when you are laying out the cards, your eyes can get very sort of, it's very trippy. But that's okay. I think the backs are pretty cool actually, the very monochromatic squiggly lines. I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit just so you get a good look at these cards as I'm showing you. So yeah, brilliant backs, love them, very psychedelic. But what I really like about this is, this for me is as close as I'm going to get to a De Laurence. So a De Laurence was a deck from, I believe, the 60s, maybe 70s, where they just use kind of like one colour palette. I've only ever seen it in orange or yellow, I think was the other one. I've never been fortunate enough to own a De Laurence, and when I do see them, they go for silly money. But what I loved about this was it's called Neutral Vibes, but they're all different shades of browns. And I don't know, it just really appealed to me. Again, a bit like the backs as well. Don't know if you can see in the background, there's this kind of line work to give you the kind of some of the skies and things like that. Not in every card, but I really like, see it again here in the background. But I really like the fact that they've used these brown colour tones. It's very earthy. The cardstock is exceptional. It's like the Expert Playing Card Company when they use that beautiful soft. Here's our full card. Yeah, I don't use this. I mean, you can see it's used, it's shuffled well, but I don't use this deck as much as I should, because it's just wonderful. I love it. Hence why it's in my top 10. The line work is really nice as well. So cards like the Queen of Pentacles or the King of Pentacles, in the more modern print versions of the RWS, can be very blotchy, but this, as you can see, is exquisite with the line work. There's our Empress. You can see on the strength card, this is our card for the week, by the way, in the Home Escape Facebook group. Same here with the moon. So it's just got a really nice vibe to it. So that's in 10th place. That's Neutral Vibes Tarot. And as I said, it don't tell you anything on the box, but it's by Matt Green. And as you can see with the signature as well, it uses Pixie's original line drawings. So, number 10. Number 9 is one that I definitely had when I did my last top 10, and it didn't even feature in it. And I'll tell you why it suddenly made it in, but I'll show you what it is first. So, and it's very opposite to the neutral vibes tone. We're really shifting a gear here. Now, the Neo Rider Tarot Collection came out in 2020, the beginning of 2020. I backed all 4 decks. There was like a shadow version and all different versions. This is the Royal deck. The downside is all 4 of these have the same design, same guidebooks, but they really should have put, perhaps even in here, what the name of the deck is. It doesn't, they just call it the Neo Rider Tarot Collection, but there was 4 that was released in 2020. I think there may have been some more since. I know this has been bootlegged as well, which is terrible. The presentation of this is absolutely gorgeous. Let's take out the little book. So you can see, you get a little poem here by Ralph Waldo Emerson, a little card, and then the book are in rose petal, and they also give a little bookmark for the books. Presentation of the box is wonderful. I think this is still available. Last time I looked, which wasn't that long ago, it was available. They are gold gilt edges. It's lovely thick cardstock. You can see this is a chunky deck. I like decks that have nice quality. And then it's got this beautiful gold gilding on the background. These are beautiful to read under candlelight. What I like about this, out of all 4, because actually the shadow version was my favourite, but that was quite gimmicky. It was plastic, it was very slippy. It gave you like a 3D effect. That gimmick wore off quite quickly. And what I found was that I was using this one more than any others. And the reason why is because of the beautiful, vibrant colours. Now, what isn't, spoiler alert, what isn't in this top 10 is the Albino Weight, which I've got a 1960s version, or the University books. Both I love, and just because they're in the top 10 doesn't mean I don't love them. There could only be room for so many. But because they are vintage copies, I use them more for a collector's item. The cardstock on both of those decks, University books and the Albino Weight from the 60s, are very thin, and I worry about damaging them. This deck ticks that box for me because it takes Pixie's artwork and those garish colours, it tones them down a little bit, but at the same time you get these beautiful mustard yellows and these deep purples. I mean, look at this for the Hermit card. The cardstock is beautiful. It's on a lovely soft matte. You really do feel like you're holding quality, and a lot of the decks that I'm going to show you today are of a very similar ilk in terms of the quality. Look how beautiful and vibrant that green is of his tunic. It's just gorgeous. The blues are stunning. And it's uniform throughout. If you see a yellow, it is this mustard yellow. All the blues are the same blues. I just happen to have a lot of blues there. Then we've got the purples, which are the same. Just really beautiful. And again, this is a deck that I don't see getting much exposure, and I really think it should, because it really is a gorgeous version. And look at that. There's my significator. Again, I love this. It almost feels like a nighttime scene now. The sky is dark. Again, this is what I was talking about how it can be, and it's not that crisp here, but it's more based the colouring of the original. So this This one is the Royal deck. And when I showed the Neo Rider collection, it's one of my most popular, as in views, of all my videos. It had 16,000 views. So why this deck isn't shown on more channels, I don't know. But if you're watching this and you got this deck, I think this one was overshadowed by the more gimmicky Neo Rider decks. And for me, actually, this one has stood the test of time. All right, so the Royal deck, part of the Neo Rider collection, is in number 9. Now I'm going to have a quick sup of tea. And we will press on. So, number 8. This one is in a bag because it has special treatment and it lives on my desk. I mean, I often talk about decks that live on my desk and I've got little stands with them on, little cubbies and things like that. So I'm just looking now, I've got 15, 16, 17, 18, about 30 decks anyway. So when I say this lives on my desk, along with 29 others. But this one is The Roses and Lilies by Conrad Stein. Conrad has been part of our community for years, many years. Probably most known for is his first deck, the CS Tarot, which was the Coleman Smith Tarot. People thought it was Conrad Stein, but he rectified that and said, no, that's not the case. But about 5 years ago, he spoke to Saskia and Kenji, who between them own all of the Pams, Pam A, B, C, D, and the Roses and Lilies, and had permission to print them all from their decks that they'd uploaded. And I've got them all of them in a set, and I love them. But what I also did, because they're in a set on a shelf, all 5 decks together, was I went back to MPC and ordered 2 in a thicker cardstock, which is probably more in keeping of what they were like when they were originally released. So this is, with the Roses and Lilies back, this is the first ever release by Pam Smith and Arthur Edward Waite under Rider Co, who were the publishers. It was only out for a few months and then it was replaced by what we call the Pam A. But I love this. It is, I mean, I love the Pam A, but we'll come on to talking about a deck similar to that a little later on. This one really does have a vintage feel to it. The colours are lovely in its vintage kind of style. So it does have a kind of aged, well-used feel. The cardstock, I think this is Superior Smooth from MPC. I love ordering decks from MPC, get some beautiful decks, but I wish they'd sort out their postage, because the middle postage one that I go for is just less than £50. And that's to get it within 2 weeks. Otherwise, you're waiting a long time. I think they send it by snail mail if you don't pay. And you can pay 60, nearly £70 for postage to get it like within a week. But that's the only thing that makes me hesitant ordering from them. But that aside, this deck is in a bag and it's one I use a lot. Really love this. It's got the oh shit squiggle where there's a little error on there. But yeah, it's just a fantastic vintage original copy of the original 1909. And there was a 1909 deck, I think it was by Drive Through Cards or C in London, and you could get it through drive-through cards. I do have that one, but this one top trumped it for me. And it's great to get a kind of scanned copy of the very first RWS tarot deck. And kudos to Conrad for, you know, bringing this to the masses. As close as I'm going to get to Roses and Lilies. So, yeah, so that's in position 8, and it's the thick. And if you go to MPC, they're still there, and you can get it in a standard or in a thick. The great thing about Conrad, it gives lots of options for different decks. You can, you know, basically choose jumbo size and all sorts. Okay, so number 7 is potentially what you would call a clone. This is the Retina Waite Smith Tarot. And it was released by Destiny 2 years ago. They did release a second edition last year in 2024, and that was in silver. This one is gold, and this one is my favourite out of the two. I did a top, because I always do a top 10 tarot decks of the year, and in my top 10 tarot decks of 2023, this was number 1. I love everything about this. We've got these cards here with Pam Smith and Arthur Edward Waite. These are just the title cards and the certificates. This sold out really, really fast, and people were gutted that they didn't get it. So I let everybody know when there was a second edition, which was the silver, exactly the same more or less, but instead of this speckled gold, you've got speckled silver, and the backs are in silver rather than gold. But these are, they have that sort of what do they call it, iridescence to it as well, which is really beautiful. Cardstock is wonderful. They use this beautiful, nice quality matte cardstock. So the reason why I say this is a clone is because Singh Poonfat, who is the artist that works at Destiny, redrew all of the images and then added their own colour. Now, and you'll see it's a different font. They also have astrological signs on there. I don't follow that, but that's fine. So it doesn't have Pixie's signature on them because it's not technically her artwork, but it's a replica of that. But what they were able to do was add shading in the most beautiful way. So if you can see here, you can see shadows being cast by the people. So these aren't in the static colours, but you'd have to have if you were new to the tarot, I don't think you would know that this has been redrawn. Only somebody who really knows Pixie's art style and line work would see a difference. I mean, look at that, the rain and the shadowing. Oh, it's just beautiful. The tones in the skies. Look at the shadows being cast by the 10 swords here. I just think it is gorgeous. This deck I used so much in 2023. This went everywhere with me. It's still, obviously, because it's in here, one of my favourite RWS decks. But what I will say is Destiny have even surpassed this. I mean, look at that, you can almost see the glow of the sun with the white against that blue. Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful deck. Look at this night sky with the eclipsed moon. Oh, I love it. So that is the Retina Waite Smith by Destiny. Beautiful, beautiful deck. So where are we? We're up to number 6. Wow, number 6. So, I was looking at vintage decks. I don't know if I've got, yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, we'll do this. So, number 6 is Pam's old deck. Again, this one is by Conrad Steen. Love this. This is possibly my favourite deck that Conrad has released. And he even did a tarot deck for me that is available called the Hermit's Hybrid Tarot, which uses the Pam's old deck mages and then playing card pips, because I wanted a hybrid deck of tarot and playing cards, one that I could take out the nights and use as a playing card deck, but also could put them all back together and use as a tarot deck. And he said, what images do you want me to use? And I said, well, I just love your Pam's old deck. Now, Tarot Vintage is a great vintage deck, and I used it for a while. I edged it in this kind of wood brown to give it kind of again an aged feel. Los Scarabeo do tend to make their cards a little bit smaller. Some people like that. Love these backs, by the way. Oh, just look at them. Beautiful. But I actually preferred Pam's old deck because I guess this is a little bit, well, there is more colour in it. It's a little bit more like the neutral vibes that I showed you at the beginning, but not, because this card kind of reminds me of it, but there is other colour in this one. But when you compare the two, I really like the fact that you're still getting a vintage theme and feel to Conrad's deck, but you've also got more colour in it. And the size difference is something as well. If I do it like that, you can see they're a lot smaller, but Los Scarabeo do tend to have smaller cards. So if I was choosing a vintage tarot deck, then Pam's old deck. Again, also on NPC. I got a special tin to keep mine in, because when you order decks from NPC, they just come shrink wrapped. But this is beautiful. Again, it's in a really nice Superior Smooth cardstock. And you can see the background colours have gone. So like on the sky here, and we get this kind of taupe, off-white, vintagey feel. But it makes the images really pop. It makes them stand out. I mean, look at this lion against this background. So this is a wonderful vintage version. Again, using Pixie's original line work, her calligraphy as well. Her signature remains. Oh, I love that card. I love every one of these cards. It's just, thank goodness for Pixie. Look how beautiful that card is. So if you're looking for, if you don't like the, I mean, some people call it that it's garish. I wouldn't say that personally, but I've heard people say it. And you're looking for a toned down, muted, vintage version, then I'd say this will probably tick your boxes. Oh, beautiful. So that one is Pam's Old Deck by Conrad Stein, available on MPC. We are down to the top 5. Oh my gosh, let's have a sup of tea. So, top 5. In 5th place, this is the Tarot of A.E. Waite and Pamela Colman-Smith, and it's a facsimile of the 1910 edition. Now, this comes as part of the huge Taschen set, which was released, was it a year ago? Could have even been the year before. What is time? Certainly in the last 18 months, it's been released. And it comes with a key to the tarot. It comes with, again, a facsimile of the second release. So you remember I showed you the Roses and Lilies back, which was the 1909. This is the 1910 edition, which gets referred to as Pam A. This 2-part slipcase box. Again, it's in thicker cardstock because the original deck would have been like that. It has a crackleback design. These are the ones that I saw when I went to the Warburg Institute 2 weeks ago. And the reason why I love this so much is because, and I dug it out again when I got back, because these are what the originals look like. When I looked into the glass case and saw the cards, the original cards, I remember thinking to myself, wow, they're pretty much like the Taschen set with all its little imperfections. And what I love about this version is I love its clarity, its sharpness. It's just such a great copy. And because it's a facsimile of an original, the colours aren't that kind of 70s yellows and things like that. They're more neutral, they're more toned down, they're not as garish as people have referred to them as. So if you did want to get this, it will set you back. I think it's, well, when I bought it, it was £100 for the set, but the book that you get with it, because if you know Taschen, you know that they put a lot into their publications, and it is a humongous, heavy book, probably about £5 in weight, and it all opens up. And then you've also got, as well as the book, you've got this deck, and you've got the little key to the tarot. I've got 2 aces together there. But yeah, this is gorgeous. There is like a sharpness on the edges. I think it's the way it's been cut. And I always feel that as well. I kind of want to soften them out, but they will soften over time as I work with them anyway. So, Tarot of A.E. Waite, the facsimile edition that you get with the Taschen set. If I remember, I will try and insert a photograph, because I can imagine people saying to me, this Taschen set you talked about. So I'll try and remember to put a photograph here so you can see the set. And if I forget, then that's going to make me look really silly. All right, let's pop this back in. I always put them in upside down because I don't want the top to get dusty. So that's that. And then we're down to number 4. Number 4 is, and this was in the original as well, it's the Dirty Pam. Of course, this deck has to feature. So this deck was released in 2017. I got it, I raved about it. People just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Then they changed it. It was called the Pam Smith Tarot, not the Dirty Pam. The Dirty Pam is what we, the online tarot community, refer to it. Kelly Bear called it that in one of my lives, and it just kind of stuck. And now people just refer to this as the Dirty Pam. So this one is known because of it. Again, it's not a huge size deck because it was released by Lo Scarabeo, so they are smaller cards. But the colours in this are beautiful. It's atmospheric, gorgeous. The reason why I'm pausing is because I want to show you, what I was going to say. Sorry, I've just gone off on a tangent there. This deck changed, and then everybody wanted it, and it was really hard to get, and it became like gold dust. People buying the last few copies, hoping to get this version. Many were disappointed because they weren't getting this version. And then Total Tarot magazine came out a few years ago, and if you bought the first 2 copies, you could get this original deck. But I believe that was only available in Europe. So, although some people were lucky enough to have people send it to them. So I got a couple of backups as well that way. This deck is the original, and my friend Kelly Bear, who I just mentioned, who named it the Dirty Pam, trimmed this for me beginning of 2018, so some 7 years ago. This deck has given the most readings for myself and for other people than any other deck in my collection. And it's in this little bag that I actually got from, who was it called? Artisan Tarot. And this goes everywhere with me. This is in my work bag, inside this bag and in my work bag. And if you've bought readings from me in the past online, you probably would have had these cards used. The only thing, because there's always something, is that they used a typeface. I don't know why. I mean, it makes no difference for the minors, because they've kept Pamela Smith's signature on the cards. So why they used a typeface instead of Pixie's calligraphy, I don't know. People were saying at the time that whilst the images were now in the public domain, the fonts weren't. Can't really see why that would be the case, but I'm no copyright expert. Copyright law is very complicated. There's John Travolta. Yeah, so this deck, I can't be without it. I love it. My most used deck ever. And I'm so glad that I trimmed it because, you know, it personalised it. It made it easier for me to use, particularly when people were purchasing 13 card spreads, so a year ahead spread. To lay them out, it gave me a little bit, look at how beautiful the Temperance is. It gave me a little bit of extra room to play around with. That said, let's see if I can quickly find, and they have a Roses and Lilies back, but they're in the blood and custard design. Rather than the blue and white. And then if you did buy the same deck and it wasn't the Dirty Pam version, the backs were a giveaway because they were expanded out, they were zoomed out, so you got less Roses and Lilies on the back. I just wanted to find, it's going to be at the end, isn't it? If I can find the 3 of Wands quickly. I'll put them completely around the wrong way. see it. So there's not a lot in terms of size difference. See if it fits in like that. But I don't know, it just made it takes off quite a bit from the top and the sides. So yeah, the Dirty Pam is number 4. So now we go to the top 3. Dum dum dum. Put that to one side because that's got to go back in my my bag. Right, so in 3rd place we have the Constantinople Tarot. Now this is a handmade deck. Again, it's a bit like that Taschen one with the 2-part slip case. It has got my name on it, so it says handmade expressly for Brian Simon Harrison, and it's by Marco Bernadetti, and he signed it as well there. How special is that? This is a nice sturdy box. It reminds me actually of like an original Pame with the colouring and the texture of it. But yeah, everything is handmade. The cards are wonderful. These are the backs, which is a variation of the Roses and Lilies. It's in blue and gold with a black border. The corners are quite sharp, so they haven't been rounded because this is done handmade by layering paper on top of each other. I did edge it in black. I just thought that it screamed to be edged in black with having black borders. But I was nervous because I didn't know, I've not had to edge a handmade deck before. But Marco put on one of the social medias that yes, you can edge these decks and they won't spoil, and they didn't. What's unusual about this is that it has a soft silky back, but it has a rough, I say rough, it's soft, but it has a textured front to it. So yeah, but the colours in this are fantastic. They're not the thickest of cardstock, but there's lots of spring to them. And when I got this, I thought, oh my gosh, a handmade RWS deck. Now, I don't know if he's still producing handmade decks. I know you can get a print-on-demand version of the images through Make Playing Cards, if you like the images. But I contacted him and just asked, look, is there any chance? And I think he said he had a couple left, and then he did the box for me with my name. But he did say to me at the time, you do know it's available on MPC at, you know, quite a lot cheaper. But I just wanted a handmade RWS deck. It's just beautiful. Love it. Show you a few more. Look how beautiful those blues are. Gorgeous. And again, it has that sort of aged effect. Really stunning. Love, love, love. So, yeah, that's the Constantinople Tarot by Marco Bernadetti. Let me pop that. One that I will always treasure. So then we come to what's in second place. This might surprise you because I think people probably think that this is the first place, but in second place, it's the Blushing Fool. This is the 1971 deck. Again, lots of people say, how do you know that it's a Blushing Fool? You can tell by the coloration of the reef, but what you're mainly looking for is for it to say in association with Waddington playing cards. I do have another blue box which was from 1973 that doesn't say that, which isn't a Blushing Fool, but the cards are just the same. You know, the quality is beautiful. It's in a 2-part box. There are some Blushing Fool decks that have tuck box, and you can get some yellow boxes. I have a yellow box Blushing Fool that I traded another blue box Blushing Fool for. This one lives on my sacred space in a special box, and it's also wrapped in this silk, which was an old kimono that's a subscriber in Japan sent to me, which I love. In the zip part here, it has the little white book, so I keep that separate. And wrapping a deck in silk is just really special. So you'll see this kind of plaid back design. I love this. So there is the Blushing Fool on top. These are gorgeous. They're lovely cardstock. They are so soft. The line work is exceptional on this deck. This deck is 54 years old, and when I acquired this deck, I think I said at the time that this must have just sat in a drawer or in a box in an attic for nearly 50 years because it is in pristine condition. And I was so lucky to get it. My first Blushing Fool, which is this one, I paid £30 before people really knew what Blushing Fools were, and then everybody was talking about Blushing Fool, and of course the prices went up, and when I bought my backup copy I paid £100, and that's the one that I traded for a yellow box Blushing Fool. And that's nice, but the cardstock isn't as nice as this. This one is just a dream, and I've spoken about it a lot, so if you've been around for a while, you're probably sick of me mentioning it, but being as I'm doing a top 10, and for the longest time this was my number one. This was my favorite, but again, with it being a vintage copy, it's not one that I want to have using every day and lots of heavy duty, because it's not that easy. Not impossible to replace, but not that easy to replace. I love it. I love it so much. So, Blushing Fool is at number 2. Pop that back. Gosh, what is up with me? It's not that tight. Okay. So that's number 2. And then that just leaves my number 1. I'm sure you've guessed, because I've talked about it a lot. And it's incredible that this deck has only been in my collection for a couple of months. But as soon as I got it and held it in my hands, I knew that this was the one. And people often joke when I've had decks in the past, I'm like, could this be the one? And they're like, yeah, until the next one, Simon. And I understand why people say that, because I say it a lot. But this deck, hands down, is my absolute favourite. and it's the ancient Orum, which basically is Latin for gold, so ancient gold. And it is perfect. I was lucky, I've had this bag a while, and I just realised, because I was looking online to get a bag for this, and I thought, I want one that's in kind of like maroon, in gold, and here it is. I've got a bag that's in maroon and gold, so it lives there. I keep the not the title cards. Tarot decks historically would have 2 extra cards, one at the front, one at the back, and it almost protects them. So I've kept that, as you can see here. These backs are beautiful. So they have this metallic gold, and it has the roses and lilies design of the 1909 deck, the original deck, but it has these splashes of red on there as well. And every card is different. So you see the splashes is in the corner here, but not in the corner there. Every card is different. So it's not just a case that they've applied like a filter to the images. And you'll see that when I go through. Now, it came edged in a matte brown, and I liked it. It was a very light brown, so it contrasted. But I remember thinking, actually, it'd be really nice if it was in gold, with this being the ancient Orum. So I bought a metallic gold Winsor & Newton pen. It wasn't in chisel tips, so I had to be really careful and take my time. I went over it, and I didn't go over it perfectly, because I kind of wanted an aged look to it. So sometimes the little bits of brown show through, and I really like that. That's the effect that I was going for. What I love about this deck is it's the original Pixies artwork. So the other deck that I showed you, the other Destiny deck, was the Retina Waite, where Singh Poonfat had redrawn all of Pixies artwork. This isn't. This is Pixies artwork with her signatures and her calligraphy, and the gold that appears over the top. Again, it's different on every single card. It's not just laid on. So each card has meticulously had this gold applied to it. I think there was only 500 of these made. A few people bought them in our community and have raved about how luxurious and beautiful this deck is. I think there's still a couple left, but I'm hoping they do a second edition. I just don't know what they can do to improve this though. We will see, but there was only ever, of this version, 500 copies. The colours are rich and vibrant, very sharp. The line work is exquisite. It is just perfect. I can't ever imagine another RWS deck coming out that I would think to myself, it's better than this. Cardstock is a dream. You can actually feel the texture front and back. Beautiful matte cardstock. It's quite a chunky deck. It's good quality. But it feels like the decks of old. So it has the same sort of cardstock quality of the facsimile that I showed by Taschen. I have not put this down. And I think I was talking, it might have been in last night's Club of Catch-Up and Cards live chat, that, you know, I'm working with a particular deck each month. So at the moment I'm working with the Lubbock Tarot by Tarot Mania. And I'm still using this. So I decided, right, well, I'll use Tarot Lubbock in the mornings, and then I'll use this in the evening, because this ain't going anywhere anytime soon. It's not one that's travel worthy. No, not travel worthy. That's not the right word. I don't want to replace the Dirty Pam in my bag and travel around with it, because as it stands at the moment, this is my only copy of it. It was sent to me for review, so I was fortunate enough not to have to pay for it, and I wouldn't have minded paying for this, but I know shipping is quite a lot from Thailand, where it was produced, where Destiny are based. So I don't want anything to happen to it. So at the moment it's a desk bound base. It has a desk bound base, I should say, rather than one that will go with me. However, I think if a friend said to me, will you come over and give me a tarot reading, this is one that I would grab for and bring. And certainly one that I'd use if somebody came here and asked for a reading. I love it. There's our Fool. Let's finish with the Fool. So, there you have it. Top 10 tarot decks, RWS version, 2025, 5 years on. We will quickly go through them. So my number 1 is Ancient Orum. My number 2 was the Blushing Fool. Number 3 was Constantinople Tarot. Number 4 is the Dirty Pam. Number 5 is the Tarot of Rider-Waite and Smith, the facsimile of the 1910 by Taschen. Number 6 was Pam's Old Deck by Conrad Stain. Number 7 was Retina Waite Smith by Destiny. Number 8 was in this bag, which is the Roses and Lilies on Mate Playing Cards by Conrad Stain, who also did the Pam's Old Deck. Number 9 was the Royal Deck from the Neo Rider collection. And number 10 was Neutral Vibes Tarot by Matt Green. Thank you for watching, everyone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you've got a deck that's an RWS deck that you would have as your number 1, or certainly in your top 10. Are you surprised by my choices? I'm sure nobody's surprised by like the Blushing Fool, Dirty Pam, and perhaps because I talk about the Ancient Orum, but you might be surprised about a few of the others that's in there. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.